Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Miami Total Football Radio, the show on this fine Friday night here in South Florida. As you can see, and as you will hear, yes, it's me, Franco Panizo, your usual co-host on this podcast focused exclusively, well, I guess not exclusively, but predominantly on Inter Miami. No Jose Armando today, no Andrea Yanes, Ajicita, and Island Jose are both on basketball duty. They are covering the Miami Heat tonight. So if you're joining me, don't worry. It's not just going to be you and I. It will be with a special guest, a very special guest who I am delighted to have on. I probably, honestly, should have had this person on a long time ago. But I don't know. It just never lined up. Never fit until now. So here we are. Joining me is a colleague and a very special friend. He works for Area Sports Network, which, if you say it without the Spanish accent, is Area Sports Network. He does, well, I'll share with that detail with you guys in a little bit, but he is a fellow Peruvian. I am talking, of course, about none other than Alonso Contreras, a.k.a. Alonso Inca. Welcome to the show, my friend, your debut.
Man.
Rookie.
Rookie of the year already. Give me that award. I mean, first of all, I'm an honor to be in your program. Like, for me, the best podcast in Inter Miami. And I say that because you're my friend. I say this because the people that you are with, they go to training, they go to press conferences, they go to the games, post games, they do recaps. It's a bunch of people just want to jump on Messi train, like, oh, Messi say this, and they want to change the entire concept and put it on their own words, so sound like they're in the game, but they're not. I mean, people need to know that you, Andrea, Jose Armando, always in trainings, always in games, always bringing the information, asking questions, with they like it or not. You guys are very objective, like the questions about Drake calendar, about who's gonna replace some players. I mean, more information is coming, especially with in such a short period of time. Inter Miami is playing so many games, so we see that in the 2-2, Mascherano play with different. Too much.
Yeah, tarjeta Maria, yellow card right away.
Sácame el azul. Give me the blue one. 2 minutes.
Come on, man. Don't jump ahead. Don't jump ahead. We're just introducing you, and you're already going into the games here. The people don't even know who you are yet. They don't even know what you're about. They don't know why you have that picture behind you of I guess you're Cristiano or Católico. Which one? Christian
no. It's the last supper. Catholic.
Francisco Garcia says buenas noches. All right, so for the people who might not be familiar with you, as you can see there on his Twitter or X tag there underneath his name over there, at Alonso_Inca. And that's because Inca, Peruvian Indian tribe from back in the days, Alonso is born in Peru. So peruano, más peruano que el ceviche. So there's 2 Peruvians now on today's pod. Now, Alonso also has a very interesting backstory, which we won't bore you with, but we will give you some of the highlights. Alonso served in the military here in the United States, a veteran of ¿qué guerra? ¿Qué fuiste? I honestly don't.
Afghanistan, Africa, Kuwait.
So Alonso has seen a lot of things. And we do, honestly, I know I was jokingly going like this with you in the green room before we started the show, but honestly, my dad was in the Air Force for 20 years, so we thank you for your service. I can't imagine some of the horrors you've seen. But anyway, we will keep it on a lighter note and stick to football here.
Of course.
Before we jump into any Inter Miami topics, I have to share this with the people because we are full disclosure, we are open book, we are transparent. We are the things that Inter Miami sometimes is not that we wish they were. But Alonso, where do you reside currently? Where do you live right
I live in Orlando.
Oh no, la gente, yeah, yeah.
People start blocking me
They're gonna
already.
start kicking you out. I don't know if I should give you a yellow,
A
yellow
a
card.
red card with
No,
a
no, no.
VAR.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
okay. Maybe when we do the expansion, it'll be Florida Total Football Radio, and you can be el corresponsal, the correspondent.
Yeah, I mean, like you and I, we met in Seattle in the MLS Cup, but 2019, Seattle against Toronto, 3-1. Seattle won, and I've been covering the league, like Inca, because I cover all the main characters that I cover is the Peruvian players, which it was 7. We are now back in 4, actually 3, because Cartagena is in the season injury list. But like I cover the entire league. We have people in different states, cities, teams, NWSL, MLS Next Pro. Some of them goes to the MLS Academy. But yeah, like I said, I started in the military for nearly 10 years. Now I'm enjoying the civilian world. This is all, I think, my 8 years in the MLS. I always thank Franco because he was my mentor in the very beginning. And it's funny, we're really good friends. We argue, well, debate. We debate a lot in soccer, but it's funny, And
I hope, honestly, I hope, and I said this to you before, and I'm going to say this for the crowd. I hope, because you and I have a different type of relationship. Because yes, we're colleagues, and that's how we met. We met through Futbol, but being Peruvian and knowing our sense of humor and knowing that we both like to, of course, be serious when the time calls for it, but also being chistosos, in the words of our other beloved Peruvian friend, we tend to joke around a lot. So hopefully we can strike the balance, but I'm sure people can already, they're listening, if they tune in afterwards or if they're watching, can already tell that we have pretty good chemistry. But let's see how it translates to football. Francisco Garcia in the comment section says buenas noches, and Thomas puts a fire emoji. All right, so I think we did the introduction again. Follow Alonso at Alonso_Inca. I will not mention, yes, I will, that he used to be at Alonso_Purple, but that no longer exists. He deleted that. Not just focused on Orlando City anymore. And of course, all the work at Adios Sports Network. There's some good work being done there. Okay. Alonso, we have a lot of Inter Miami topics to talk about here on your very first appearance as a guest here on Miami Total Football Radio, the show, also known as Miami Total Football. No me salió la. A veces no me sale. When I go from English to Spanish, sometimes I can't, like, my tongue doesn't switch fast enough, so I get stuck. Radio, the show. Radio show. Don't worry. I will have you say it at the end. I always have the guests do it on their first appearance at the end. But Alonso, you were actually in South Florida this week, so you are a perfect candidate to fill in for.
I'm coming back. I just got my approval today. I'm coming back on Thursday.
You're coming back next week. All right. Well, Alonso tends to make the drive down the turnpike from Orlando, from Central Florida to South Florida to occasionally cover Inter Miami games. He was here this week in the lead up and, of course, during the Inter Miami Sporting Kansas City second leg in the Concacaf Champions Cup. So, again, who better to talk Inter Miami with when Andrea and Jose are not here than Alonso Contreritas, El Canelita, as we affectionately call him. And Alonso, all right, we're going to jump right into, what was it, Tuesday night's game? It's Tuesday, right? Not Wednesday. Tuesday night's game. Tuesday or Wednesday? No, it's Tuesday. Tuesday night's game. See, it was Tuesday night's game at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The weather actually held up, so didn't really rain during the game. Inter Miami was protecting a 1-0 lead after last week's first leg in the Arctic cold in Kansas City, which actually you've also lived in. I think you even didn't you have tryouts there? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll get to that story later. Pero Inter Miami had a 1-0 lead, and they successfully protect that lead, and they advance to the next round of the Concacaf Champions Cup with a 3-1 victory over Sporting Kansas City. So they win 4-1 on aggregate in the series. They will next face El Todopoderoso, the all-too-powerful Jamaican club Cavalier FC. and I say that tongue in cheek. We will talk about that more. Obviously, Inter Miami is the favorite there. There's no denying that. Inter Miami can't overlook any opponent, but clearly they're the favorites. Anyway, focusing on Tuesday night, a lot of things to talk about, and then we'll start there, and then we'll transition to the week's news, and then go into a preview of this weekend's game against the Houston Dynamo. So, Alonso, you were in the press box. What did you think? What was your biggest takeaway from the 3-1 win at home for Inter Miami?
It's a liar score. Like, if people just look on the website 3-1, like, oh my man, Miami destroy Sporting Kansas City. But even if you watch the highlights, you can see that Sporting Kansas City dominated. And of course, when you have Messi, Suarez, and Alba participating in goals, assisting or scoring goals, of course, it's going to be easier for Inter Miami. But then Sporting Kansas City was there. It was an offside, a goal that they call offside. Then it was a couple shots that they were attacking. They consistently attacking, bringing dangers in Ustari's box. But, it took one magic shot from Messi in the first half, another great pass to Allende from Jordi Alba that he patiently waited for the defender to move outside so he can put the ball inside and Allende score. And then Suarez, man, Suarez, he was tripping on purpose to make that type of goal. But when you have those type of players, anything can happen. But, you have to remember, like, Inter Miami play Sporting Kansas City that hasn't win a game since July last year. So if this is happening with Inter Miami right now, they need to worry about it, man, because if even look what Atlanta did last season. So I didn't like it.
I wanna. So obviously, as those who are listening or who are watching can see in the title of this pod, it says Messi and the unconvincing victory with a question, because that is, I guess, the biggest talking point from this game. Inter Miami won pretty comfortably on the scoreline. We can talk about the series, but we're just going to focus on this game for now. So they won pretty comfortably on the scoreline. Were they overly troubled in this match? I would say no. But it's true that I think there is a sentiment from some people who don't just look at the final result, that Inter Miami wasn't overly impressive in this one. That they obviously...
And they got lucky for the pick they didn't call. And when they were 1-0, Peluquín grabbed the player, and they then went to the VAR and the corner kick.
Well, Justin here in the comment section says the first half, Sporting Kansas City was on the attack mode because of the 1-0. And I think that is something that has to be taken into context here and taken into consideration. Inter Miami was already winning, and they already had an away goal. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean you rest on your laurels and you sit back and defend, less so if you have Lionel Messi and the like on your team. But Inter Miami didn't have to attack. It didn't have to. Now, it gets the goal from Messi with Luis Suarez making a hell of a cross. Lionel Messi se desmarca. He gets free of his mark very well, makes that trailing run that he's made so many times. You would think that opposing teams would have it down pat to keep eyes on him, to have someone near him at all times. But Messi's a master at playing a pass, and in that split second that the attention is off of him for just even a little bit, he makes the darting run, finds the space.
He make a great pass to Segovia, and Segovia back to him, and he missed 1-1 with a goalkeeper from Kansas City. But
but I'm talking about the goal. The goal, Suarez feeds him. He brings it down. He brings it down, and on the half ball, he just winds up.
But that's Messi, man.
Of course, absolutely. So Inter Miami at that point is up 2-0.
No, that was the first goal.
In the series, they're up 2-0. In the series, right? So now they're even sitting more comfortably. Is there maybe a natural reaction, or maybe there's a natural reaction to take the foot off the pedal a little bit? No meterle tanta gasolina. Maybe. And is that the right thing to do? No, probably not, right? They should have kept going. They should have kept Not give Kansas City any less, because
especially Inter Miami doesn't know how to defend. Like Miami is a team that needs to attack, because when they defend, anything can happen to them. They're not good at defending.
So
like sitting back, like parking the bus. Let's pace the ball. They're not good at it.
Well, we'll get there, but I just want to analyze the context of the game, because I do think the context matters. Yes, look, in my opinion, should Inter Miami have? I mean, they don't have to be throwing numbers forward recklessly, but should they still have been the protagonist and dominant on the ball? And yes, they probably should have. Now, obviously, Kansas City is going to react to going down 1-0 in the game, 2-0 in the series. They have to now score 2 goals to stay alive. So naturally, they're going to start pushing number forward. So naturally, that can push you back a little bit. So I think all these things played into that rough second half to the first half, or the rough second part to the first half, if that makes it clearer, for Inter Miami. And yes, look, again, they were tested there. There's one that Oscar Ustari, the Inter Miami starting goalkeeper, he paws away. I think it was a shot cross from the left. There's another one that leads to a shot on target it looked like it was goal bound. Pero Peluca Falcón makes I won't say a goal line clearance, but an in front of the goal line clearance. So there were some nervy moments defensively for Inter Miami. However, they managed to get through it. They survived through the choppy waters, and then they scored 2 more goals in first half stoppage time, effectively ending this series. It was 4-0 at that point with an away goal in hand. So at that point, it's over. What Inter Miami was very, very good at, Alonso, in my opinion, was they were very clinical, efficient, eficaces, however you want to label it. They were very good at that, because in the first half, they had 3 shots on target, and 3 goals. So that is a very good mark of a team, because maybe you don't play well, but if you can take your chances, then that's going to definitely overcome and mask that. Can they play better? Absolutely.
Yeah, they have to play better, because they have played nobody right now. I mean, so far of the season, they haven't played nobody. They play NYCFC. They have not, besides Morales, Maxi Morales, that's it. Then you go to play Sporting Kansas City. I mean, they haven't won a game in like 7 months. So we have to wait. We have to see when Miami get a real test against Atlanta, for example, Philadelphia. But yeah, I mean, the game was I would say like a good tactics by Mascherano, because he changed a lot of 4 players from the game, first game against NYCFC. But when you have Messi, everything is easier, like every time he has a ball in that game was a danger play for Sporting Kansas City goalkeeper and defenders. And I don't know, man, but like we were talking about in press conference, you can feel the sensation that Peter Vermeers was like, man, I'm here to play, not to compete. Man, for real.
Yeah, I agree with you that Peter Vermeers' comments sounded a bit defeatist in the pregame press conference, the matchday -1 press conference. Didn't seem like there was a real belief that they could do it. At least that was our interpretation of the press conference and how we read things. Let's listen to Javier Mascherano analyze a little bit of the game, especially that part there in the second part of the first half, where Inter Miami maybe lost a little bit of the control, lost a little bit of the possession, and Sporting Kansas City maybe looked its most dangerous in this series.
Nada, de eso se trata, de que un equipo no puede jugar bien los 90 minutos, y hay momentos donde queremos que sean pocos, no solamente que sean pocos los momentos, sino que sean pocos los partidos donde el rival nos domina, pero va a pasar, como pasó hoy, como decías vos, y hay que saber sufrir. El equipo ha sabido sufrir, hemos tenido también la cuota de suerte que hay que tener, y después obviamente encontramos los goles que nos permitieron dar una cierta tranquilidad, como también en el inicio, en la segunda parte, iniciamos muy bien los primeros 10, 15 minutos donde merecíamos haber aumentado la diferencia, no lo pudimos hacer y un gol de ellos medio que entramos ahí un poco, no te digo en la confusión, pero eh, nos apagó, para decirlo de alguna manera. Nada, creo que un equipo es un todo y es importante que sepamos convivir con cada momento que te indica el partido.
All right. So a lot said there, a lot of analysis. One of the things he says is we suffered, but we have to know how to suffer, which means there's going to be times, rough translation of what that dicho, what that saying, what that refrain means in Spanish is that there's going to be times where you have to defend, where you're not going to have possession, where you're not going to be the attacking team, and you have to know how to manage those situations and get through them. And Inter Miami largely did. I mean, the goal they gave up in the second half of this game is off of a deflected shot that hits Maximiliano Peluca Falcón, and then catches the wrong-footed Oscar Ustari in goal. Wrong-footed. So
impossible to save.
So did Inter Miami play particularly well in the second half? No. Were they a little flat? Yes. But again, the context matters. They're already up 4-0. In the series. They already had, a foot and a half or a foot and 3/4 or a foot and 4/5 or 9/10, however you want to put it, into the next round. So, I mean, there's no real need to continue to attack. Again, would you like to see them maybe play better and knock the ball around? Sure. But at 4-0, you can also understand a natural reaction to just kind of take the foot off the gas, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree. I don't know if the comment section.
Yeah. I mean, like you winning 3-0. Of course, the second half is gonna be like you have to be walking. Sponsored by
no. I wish.
I mean, come on, bro. Like not even Barcelona dominate 90 minutes. I don't know what Machilano saying. Like we don't dominate. Of course. I mean, you have to. I mean, it's a natural reaction. You're winning 4-0. It having a score. You in at home. You playing like, hey, they're not gonna score on us. Let's tocar más and move around. And so and so. But and I would say this: the good luck of Mascherano for next game is probably Jamaica team is going to be the first time that they face Messi. So it's going to be like a Messi in the first year in MLS. People asking for autograph in the middle of the field.
They did sell out in minutes.
The jerseys, everything. So that's going to be an advantage for him. When Mascherano have to face in CONCACAF MLS teams, Mexican teams, that's when we're going to see the real Inter Miami 2025, when he faced, like I said, very opponents on the Eastern conferences, like Atlanta. No, but it's true. It was too easy, the game. Look, in Miami.
Quédate en este carril, causa.
In Miami, total football and all Sport Network combined make 11. We can probably beat the Sporting Kansas City in the first game, bro.
Alonso, por favor. Ya ves, ya te está. Ya ha sido.
María.
No, ya eso para roja, bro. Yeah, okay. Red card for saying absurd things here. Red card. We tolerate a lot, but I mean,
you see that
for you, Tommy. Now you're muted for a minute. That's the rule when you get red carded. Tommy says, I disagree. Miami's more vulnerable when they attack. When they lost the ball, the counterattack will cool them. I don't disagree with that, Tommy. I do think Inter Miami is vulnerable still in defensive transitions and counterattacks. Absolutely. I think just the point here from some people was that they play well. And I don't think they played particularly well, but they didn't have to. They were already up, and then they were efficient with the chances they had in the first half, which was enough to overcome any shortcomings that they might have had from the run of play. So not the best performance, no el mejor rendimiento, but again, they got the job done. They are on to the next round to play Cavalier FC. Alonso, I will unmute you now. It's a new thing. We started it earlier this week.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
The new thing here on Miami Total Football Radio.
No, because I mean, we're trying to analyze a game that
Sí,
was
pero no digas
un
que we
trámite,
could beat
un
Kansas
trámite,
City.
un
Don't
trámite,
say
un trámite,
we can
un
beat Kansas
trámite,
City, though.
un trámite. Fue un partido de un trámite. I mean, come on, like I mentioned before, like Macherano say, "Oh, I'm not gonna make changes." He made 4 changes, you know, and
Well,
and
this was the starting lineup for Inter Miami, and it was the.
I like Fry though. Fry was very positive.
Hold on. 4-4-2 from Inter Miami. Oscar Ustari in goal. Ian Frey, Thomas Aviles, Maximiliano Falcon, and Jordi Alba, your back four. Again, Chelo Weigand, the usual starter at right back, with an injury. The midfield four from right to left, Tadeo Allende, Federico Redondo, Sergio Busquets, Telasco Segovia. Up top, of course, Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. The goals came from Messi in the 19th minute, Allende in the 45th +1, Luis Suarez 45th +3, and then Memo Rodriguez. Well, he ruined the party in terms of the clean sheet in the 63rd minute with that deflected shot off of Peluca Falcon, who made his anticipated debut for Inter Miami. He was one of the bright spots for the team in this one. I liked what I saw from him. So where I'm not so positive about the performance, but I understand it, much more positive about Peluca Falcon's performance at center back. He started as the left center back in the back four, ended the game as the right center back of the back four after some substitutions were made. Besides his hair, which is obviously the biggest thing you notice about him, right, when at first glance, his demeanor, his attitude, his desire and effort were all really evident for me. And I think it's a very good sign for Inter Miami. I think he is a cut above, and I know this is just one game and it was against a poor Kansas City team, but based on what I saw from him and his characteristics, sus características, I think he's going to be a step above the level of defenders that we've seen even dating back to last year. I really like what I saw from him in the debut. I saw a comment here from Justin said Falcon was the piece we need. I have a listener who reaches out to me pretty frequently on WhatsApp, and he texted me and said, I think Falcon is going to be the biggest signing Inter Miami has made since Los Cuatro Fantásticos. So for me, I like what I saw. Maybe not the biggest, the most important. Maybe the most important is the better translation. But for me, I like what I saw in the debut. Alonso, what did you think of the Uruguayan center back?
I mean, he was good. He was like a leader, you know, like even that Tomas was playing for many games for Inter Miami. Falcon pass the ball, cannot direct, play to the goalkeeper, play to the right, play to the left. He knows, or he knew when to went up, when to come back. He has a good reading because in the goal that he saved in the line, he dropped. You can see he dropped on purpose and covered that side, and the ball goes to the side, and he saved the goal from Sporting KC. So I like what I saw about what he needs to get more used to is to like kind of like those mañas, you know, that we have in South America. Because in one of the corner kicks when Miami was 1-0 to 0 aggregate, he pulled a player that easily the VAR couldn't take as a pick. But besides that, great player. I like it. Like you said, besides the four Fantásticos, I think he's probably going to start on Houston. I like more this lineup against Kansas City than it was against Sporting Kansas City. I like Pride.
Hold on. Repeat that.
I like
Repeat
it.
that. No, you said you like
I like the
lineup
better. The Mascherano put against Kansas City that he put against NYCFC.
Okay. You said Kansas City twice, so you're confusing me.
I'm sorry.
You're confusing. You're confusing the
blue,
listeners.
They're blue. So because I like Allende is better than Kremaski. I think Redondo, of course, better than Ruiz. Of course, Segovia for me is a smart player. He's younger, but better than Fafa. And
ya pecado, te voy a dar todo el scouting.
No. Te estoy diciendo, Fry is the only one right there. Fry is the only one that have competition.
We are talking about Falcon.
I know, but I'm telling you the lineup because it's gonna be easier for Falcon.
Pero espera, stay on the point.
Stay with you, my friend.
And I think it's only going to get better for Peluca Falcon. Again, don't want to sit here and make it sound like he's the next, Sergio Ramos in his prime, right? But he was good. He showed flashes of being a cut above the rest, in my opinion. I think he's got more quality than the rest. And you touched on something that I fully agree on, and that's that he looks to be a natural leader for this back line. Whereas maybe they haven't really had a true leader across that back four or the back five dating back to last year. I mean, you could say Busquets, but Busquets, I don't really count him as a center back. But they haven't really had that presence, that leader. And I think he will fulfill that role. I think he will very quickly, if he hasn't already, become el referente de la defensa. He'll be the reference point on that defense. He'll be the first, I don't know about Jordi Alba is also there too. So I guess I mean more in the center back position, right? More centrally, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Not because Jordi Alba obviously is a reference point. He's obviously a leader, very vocal as well. But they haven't had that organized or that organizational center back that points and gets everyone in shape and on the line. Like every time he made a play, you would see him quickly dart forward to the offside trap to get more advanced up the field. Now, as Jose Armando in the press box next to me jokingly pointed out, because I noted it when I saw it, I was like, okay, that's really good on Falcon's part. Jose Armando said, yeah, well, the problem is that nobody else on the back line does it sometimes. So that will have to be worked with more time, with more games, with more practices. You imagine it will continue to evolve and get better, and they'll become more of a cohesive unit. But the initial impressions, albeit against a very poor Kansas City team, I think we're very, very good. There will be bigger tests.
Besides the team that he's going to play next, is the another test is to play with Lujan. He's not going to play. So that's going to be a good challenge for the Uruguayan as well, like to see that chemistry with Lujan.
Let's listen to Peluca Falcon. And if you don't know what Peluca means, it's his nickname. It just means wig, and it's obviously a reference to his afro. So he talked about today about actually being a leader during the Friday morning availability at Florida Blue Training Center in Fort Lauderdale.
Bueno, obviamente, como dije recién hace un rato, ¿no? Que cada uno aporta lo que puede dentro del club, lo que cree necesario y lo que también el técnico te pide. Pero también por ahí lo veo como un crecimiento personal. A veces es difícil, como decís vos, estar mirando la línea, hablando, achicando el equipo, también preocupado por la marca. Entonces también lo tomo como un aprendizaje en el hecho de que no es fácil a veces estar concentrado y hablar a la misma vez. A algunos les sale más fácil, a algunos no. Pero esa es la idea de este torneo, de este año. Mejorar en eso, que son como detalles claves, digamos, para mi posición, y también animar a mis compañeros de tener una buena comunicación. A veces se arregla un problema, un ataque del rival solamente estando bien parado y con comunicación. A veces no necesitas ni correr. Entonces esa es la idea, que estemos todos en la misma sinergia y estemos concentrados en cada pelota, porque nosotros sabemos que si mantenemos el cero, siempre tenemos peligro arriba.
I will say this, and you weren't there today. Maximiliano Falcon is a hell of a quote. If you don't speak Spanish, I could paraphrase that, but he in general just talked about communicating, wanting to take on that challenge at this point in his career. He's 27, of being a leader. He said he's not that young, but he's not that old either. So he's in like the prime or entering the prime of his career. So he wants to personally take on that responsibility of being more of a what happened, Alonso? You unplugged yourself there? Or why you smiling? Should I red card you, brother, again? What happened, man? What happened?
He said that the prime. And I got flashback from Zlatan,
Oh, but that's Alonso, stay with me, brother. Stay with me.
I know you want to be humble, but be more realistic, like, hey, I'm here to help the young players, the defenders, more details, more communication. I know you want to be humble, you want to sound like, but come on. They brought you for a reason here. Otherwise, they would have keep other. Yeah, he's a great coach, but he's trying to be more humble than say the truth. They brought you for a reason.
Well, I did.
Now, Let's
ask
see
him,
if you
Alonso.
are for the standard. That's it. That's all.
I did ask him. I asked him in a different moment about, the defense was obviously a position or an area where the team was looking to improve. And obviously he's one of the key signings for that area. And he kind of, like you said, he wasn't trying to, he kept the answer very professional and very team first. And he goes on, even here he says, later on in the press conference, he's a great speaker, by the way. He spoke for 15 minutes. The whole interview is up on Miami Total Football's YouTube channel if you want to go take a look after this. But he talked about how, you're going to make mistakes in football, in soccer, and the people that don't make mistakes is because maybe they're playing too safe. So he's like, making mistakes is a sign. Like, he was very positive, very positive. And yes, maybe humble, maybe politically correct. But again, some of those things are good for a leader at the back. Now, if the time comes, he has to desahuevar, as we say, or he has to put
Maria,
someone in line.
señor, I'm mute for 1 minute, señor. Mute for 1 minute.
If he has to put somebody in their place or put someone in line, then we'll see if he has, the personality to do that. But again, early signs for me are very, very positive for Peluca Falcon. Couple of other things to talk about from this game, Alonso. And one is Noah Allen, the young academy prospect. What? Why are you exhaling?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Why are you exhaling? The young academy prospect was given the captain's armband, and he, I believe, became the first academy player to captain Inter Miami, even if it was only for a few minutes late on in the game. Look, it might have just been a gesture, because obviously you still had Jordi Alba on the field, Oscar Ustari was on the field, and they both kind of waved off putting the armband on, and that's how he ended up with Noah Allen. But I think it's also a credit to how well Noah Allen has played. I think it's a testament to how good he has been at the start of this season, which is also an extension of what he did last year. Last year, he played center back more than he played left back, and he by and large held up. So, the fact that he wore the armband, I'm not going to call him El Capitán del Futuro or the future captain of Inter Miami, but I think it's a good reward for him, a nice moment for him. I know Inter Miami has, done their PR and been like, we build captains or we build personalities or whatever the case is.
He's 5'9", He's 5'9".
I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about. But
the center back. You're gonna tell me that a European club is gonna look for Noah Allen, 5'9" center back?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But that's not the point. The point is that he was captain in this game.
Okay, I know.
He was captain in this game, and I think it's a nice moment for him, given how good of a season he's having. It's like a reward.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm all on favor for the homegrowns, for MLS Academy. I think that the MLS needs to produce more players. So yeah, I'm all forward with Noah Allen playing. But
you don't see him playing center back.
Because I mean, if you using a player for the better of United States national team, you have to use in a position that you can sell him into Europe to good teams. 5'9", it's hard to sell this guy, and he need more experience.
Honestly, if we're looking at it, bigger picture, longer term in his career, if outside of MLS, if he has aspirations outside of MLS, which I imagine he does. There was a report recently that Greek's youth national team is looking at him. He does have Greek heritage in the pipeline. At that level, you have to imagine he's going to be a left back. He's done very well. Listen, now I'm not even going to make the comparison because then I'm going to get ripped. But listen, Fabio Cannavaro was not the tallest center back, and he played center back. I'm not saying that Noah Allen is Fabio Cannavaro. I'm not saying he's at that level. But in MLS, he's been able to hold his own despite his height limitations. All right? That's all I'm saying. So nice moment for him. And Inter Miami, of course, relishing in the PR of it all. And You said it was un resultado mentiroso. These were the final stats, by the way.
See, I mean,
Sporting Kansas City outshot Inter Miami overall, although they both had the same amount of shots on target. Possession was pretty close. Inter Miami with the slight advantage, 51-49. Passing accuracy equal to 86. Fouls pretty much neck and neck, 12-17, with Kansas City committing more fouls. I mean, it is the game that you would expect from a Kansas City team that needed to push to try to stay alive while Inter Miami was efficient. But all right, the last talking point from this game that we will touch on was Lionel Messi. He left this game earlier than normal. He was substituted. Now, there were images of him grabbing his adductor, his leg, his hamstring, his gluteus, whatever. I don't know. He was checking something out before he was subbed out. So there were concerns about his health in the immediate aftermath and in the last few days. However, Javier Mascherano earlier today on Friday said that there's nothing to really worry about, that Messi is A-okay. This is what El Jefecito Mascherano said during our Friday morning availability.
No, Leo está bien, está normal y va a entrenar de forma normal como todos los compañeros.
Short and sweet. Messi's fine. He's A-okay. He will train alongside with the rest of his teammates. And we did see Messi during the 15 minutes of training, looked fine, looked okay. So his availability for this weekend's match against the Houston Dynamo should not be in question. He looks like he is going to be raring to go from the first minute, as is usual. Now, Alonso, my friend, a couple of things we have to talk about before we transition to the weekend. One is the state of Drake Callender, man, because we continue to see him in training, but he has yet to dress. He's been in training for at least 2 to 3 weeks now, but he has yet to dress for Inter Miami, be it in the preseason friendlies, be it in the Concacaf Champions Cup, or be it in MLS play, although it's only been one match in the regular season so far. Now, we've asked Mascherano, about Callender. And Mascherano has by and large just told us that they were just waiting on Callender. The calendar is not 100% ready yet. Well, for those of you looking for your now weekly update on Drake Callender, this is what Mascherano said today. And I will say this, because I want you guys to look. I want you, Alonso, because I don't think you've seen this. I want you to read Mascherano's body language. I asked this question about Drake Callender because, actually, Mascherano was asked about Drake Callender earlier in the scrum, in the interview, in the media availability. But I followed up a few minutes later saying, could you clarify what it is exactly that is prohibiting Callender from being in the matchday roster? I'm not saying he should start out right? I didn't even ask it like that. I just said, what's prohibiting him from not being in the matchday roster? And this was Mascherano's response. Alonso, I want a very careful eye from you. Very careful eye.
¿Qué lo impide estar con sus sensaciones? Él nos sigue comentando, o por lo menos hasta la semana pasada, de que no se sentía al 100%.
Javier, Jordi.
Ya pecado, si no, ni está mirando. Oh my goodness. Te doy a María.
No. Es que I saw that interview and you should have played too the other question that he said that his sensations. He needs to see the sensations, how he's feeling. Come on. When someone says that the player is not ready.
I'm gonna play it again so you can pay attention. I'm gonna play it again. It's 13 seconds.
¿Qué lo impide estar con sus sensaciones? Él nos sigue comentando, o por lo menos hasta la semana pasada, de que no se sentía al 100%.
Javier, Jordi.
That face at the you're in disbelief.
He's not on his plan. He's not on his plan. And
that face that he gives me at the end, that face that he's like, what do you read into that, Alonso? What do you read into that from some of this from the outside?
I'm gonna put my player, bro. Don't ask me that question. The only thing that bothers Mascherano with Drake Calendar is that Drake Calendar is a national team player, so he needs to play in another team. So they're looking probably. This is my opinion. Okay, this is not
information.
Supposition. Yes, this is
based
on my
posición, no información.
Yeah. This is based on my experience. We'll be longer in this league to kind of read those situations. So I think the only discomfort from Mascherano or Inter Miami is trying to find a team for Drake Calendar, because he's not in the plans of Mascherano. Because it's common sense. Yeah, Ustadi, you play the league. This we're gonna play Sporting Kansas City. Like you said, we already 1-0, stuff like that. Hey, Drake, have some minutes. But not even that. So that clearly says like, hey, he's 100%. We don't want to hurt him because we don't want him here. So if he gets hurt, we cannot trade him, we cannot sell him, we cannot buy out. So that's my supposition about this situation. He's like, don't ask me about him because I'm gonna tell you he's not ready. And you're gonna keep asking me the same question. But guess what? We're gonna keep asking the same question.
That stare at the end where he's like yeah. I mean, I think it's telling. Look, I agree with you that I think Drake Calendar's days are numbered here in South Florida. And I look, Oscar Ustadi is one injury away from maybe changing the whole landscape of things, and Drake Calendar having to be the next man up once again. I don't know, maybe. I don't think he's in favor here. I think he's fallen out of favor. I don't think this coaching staff rates him as highly as maybe some of the fans do, or maybe some other coaching staffs around the league, or maybe even the U.S. soccer program rates Drake Calendar. So I agree with you. I think that the whole thing here is, because essentially, if you take this at face value, right? If you just take it at face value, what he said in Spanish is that Drake Calendar is the one who is deciding not to play right now. It is not a team decision to hold Drake Calendar back, that it is a Drake Calendar decision because he doesn't feel 100% yet. Which, so the player's calling the shot, you guys call it. Like, it's clear that there's more to the story. And I agree with you that I think it's just that they're looking to part ways with Drake and trying not to risk an injury or anything that could limit potential. I will say this. I will share this. This is information. I do know that at some point in this offseason, I was told this by sources, some point this offseason, and this is the first time that I'm saying it, and I have not seen it anywhere. Inter Miami was looking to shop Drake Calendar, and there was at least one team on the West Coast that was interested in Drake Calendar, but nothing came to pass, obviously. So take that for what you want. Drake Calendar is surplus to requirements here. Doesn't mean he can't come back. Doesn't mean that if Oscar Ustadi picks up an injury, which he's picked up a lot of in his career, doesn't mean that Drake Calendar can't come back and maybe have a renaissance. But
what I'm concerned about it is because Ustadi ends contract this year, no option, but Calendar has an option for next year. So, or either they're going to extend, team auction. Yeah, it's a team auction. Or either they're going to renew a contract for Ustadi, or they're going to bring another keeper.
Well, they've been rumored to be wanting another goalkeeper since the winter started. So,
and the Drake Calendar story, kind of like I think you were there too. One of your colleagues asked for Gressel in conference, and Mascherano said, "Well, I have 20 in MLS. I have 23 players to put, and Concacaf 20, and of those 20, Gressel wasn't on my plans. So because we thought the tactic to play against a 5-time Concacaf Champions League Sporting Kansas City, I think Gressel doesn't fit in the system. So something was going on with Gressel too. I think they wanna make more room for Gam, and who knows, but Drake obviously, and let's see if Gressel is in the bench or in the roster for this coming up game.
They
already left. So if Gressel
they leave tomorrow because the game's on
Sunday. Yeah. So if we see Gressel posting South Miami on Saturday night, we know.
And so again, some information here for a lot of you. And this is not sources told me. This is information, but not through sources. And Julian Gressel did talk on his podcast, and it did kind of go under the radar this week. No, it did fly under the radar by and large. I haven't even talked about it because I actually missed it until today, interestingly enough. That he says in his podcast, I think it's called the Player Manager Pod, that his agent is having discussions and negotiations with other teams.
Oh, he said it on the podcast.
He said it on the podcast.
My man.
He didn't reveal who. He said he wants to stay on the East Coast. That he's, he still has good relationships with everyone at Inter Miami, but that if he's surplus the requirements here, if he's, falling out of favor, then, there's negotiations being had.
Maybe go back to Columbus because they need players.
So as Jason says, Gressel said on his podcast that his agent is looking for in the East for a trade. Jay also says Gressel will be sold first.
I mean, he needs to be like a buyout because his contract finished next year. And then his team option.
But Inter Miami's not going to want to buy him. Inter Miami's going to want to trade him for whatever they can get back for him. Now,
first round MLS Super Draft MLS 2026 pick.
They
do that. So it's
the issue with Gressel is that he earns, I think, $1 million. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And for anyone to take that on, this is what's being reported out there, not by us, but what's being reported out there is that
it's too much
for anyone to take on Julian Gressel, Inter Miami's going to probably have to pick up some of that salary hit.
Like a negotiate 50-50,
60-40, whatever. But you're gonna have to pay some of that.
I mean, because Tata wanted him, right? Tata wanted him. That's why
Julian Gressel's a Tata guy from the days in Atlanta. From here.
So he wanted him. So he want to make sure also help him, money wise.
But he's not a Javier Mascherano guy, and you can see that in preseason.
Atlanta, I don't know Atlanta. I covered Seattle Sounders when Garth and Chris Henderson was there, and they don't have to spend a lot of money, especially either in salary. So I don't think.
Thomas in the comment section says Gressel will probably go to New England Revolution or Atlanta.
Maybe New England.
New England is a team to watch. And I imagine, without Gressel saying it outright, that is his preferred destination. Because before he came to Inter Miami, before he signed here to reunite with Tata Martino and play alongside Lionel Messi, etc., he acknowledged publicly that he was between the New England Revolution and Inter Miami. And the reason for the New England Revolution is because there's family ties there. So I imagine now that he's come to South Florida, played under Tata, who's no longer here, that I imagine his preferred destination is New England. Whether he ends up there or not, veremos. We will see. But Julian Gressel days are apparently numbered, as looks to be the same case for Drake. So, and again, it's a matter, because I've had this debate with Jose and Andrea. It's a matter of fit, right? It's a matter of what if the coach rates you or not. You could be a good player. There's plenty of examples throughout the world of football where there's very good players and they're not rated by the current system. Yeah, there's coaches that are just like, he doesn't fit with what I want to do or how I want to do things. That's normal. So if that's the case for Drake Callender and Julian Gressel, then that's the case for them. There you go. There you go. Too bad, so sad type of thing. All right. So one more thing before we switch to this weekend's game. Actually, one more thing is, so there was a report. Not even a report. This wasn't a report. This wasn't a news report. This was actually put out there by actual clubs, and that is that Ecuadorian striker Alan Obando, who has been linked with the move to Inter Miami on loan for several weeks now. Well, Ecuadorian club Barcelona said that it's happening, that he's coming on loan to Inter Miami. I mean, if you look at it at face value and you look at it as being true, which it very much seems like it would be, because why would a club come out and say this is happening if it's not? Then obviously he will be the replacement for Leonardo Campana, the backup striker to Luis Suarez. That's essentially the role he will be filling. Right now, there is no backup striker. Obando would fit that role.
How old is he?
He's pretty young. I'd have to get exactly. I think he might be like 19, maybe.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that's good because
Chivolo.
No, but that's good because you know Suarez probably have 2-3 more seasons and he's still
18.
young.
18.
Yeah,
He'll be 19 in June.
Perfect. Perfect to learn from Suarez, to build chemistry with Messi, so learn, man. I mean, the kid have to take the huge advantage that he's gonna learn from Suarez. One for me after Ronaldo, the best number 9.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Brasilero, fenomeno.
Here we go.
No, yeah, I mean Suarez, bro.
Yeah,
Suarez,
yeah.
Don't you want to learn from Suarez?
No,
but don't you want to learn from Suarez for the kid?
Stay here.
Good for the
Stay
kid. I hope he comes.
Thomas, Atletico Madrid Grupo Loan, Alan Obando to us Inter Miami. Right. So that's what's already out there by the clubs, except Inter Miami. Now I'm gonna touch on why, based on what I've heard. But Javier Mascherano was asked by Andrea Llanes, our beloved Afisita, today in a very direct way about it. And look, I'm gonna say this: Mascherano today in the press conference, I felt like he was a bit prickly, a bit like, I wouldn't say he was rude, but he was a little bit tense or a little bit
not rude. He wants to give you a lecture how soccer is supposed to play,
Well,
with three games on the coaching a professional team.
Bueno, let's listen to Mascherano's response on the rumors or the reports or the actual information from other clubs that the Ecuadorian striker is coming to Inter Miami.
Lo que puedan anunciar el resto de equipos no está en manos nuestras. Lo importante es cuando el club tenga que comunicar algo. De momento el club no se ha comunicado o no ha comunicado nada. No, como siempre hemos dicho, no hablamos de supuestos, hablamos de realidades y bueno, la realidad es los que estamos acá.
So to translate that, he
made that decision, so he doesn't have nothing to say. So the club bring the players. Come on, bro. See? You see,
hold on. Espérate.
Real question. So the club bring the player without your authorization?
No, hold on. Clearly he's playing coy. Clearly he's saying that, in there, for people that don't speak Spanish, don't understand, he says, we don't deal in supposedlies. We deal in realities. And the realities are the players that are here now. Previous to that, he says something along the lines of, when the club, talking about Inter Miami, has something to communicate regarding the matter or any matter, then the club will do so when it is appropriate. So, I mean, a very good soldier approach, to use a military term here for you. A very good soldier approach, but obviously one that's not built on, the reality of the situation. Because the reality of the situation, this is not reports from news outlets. This is actual clubs saying that the deal is done. Now, why has Inter Miami not said that the deal is done? It's a very similar situation, from what I've heard, as Baltasar Rodriguez, the Argentine midfielder, who I reported in January, if I'm not mistaken, that he would be signing with Inter Miami. The reason why I've heard that they have not been formally announced. Any guesses? Alonso, any guesses?
I mean, because the most common one, because it's not signed, he hasn't signed yet. So the club can announce it.
So the reason, let me see if I can pull this up here while I say this, because it's going to make a lot more sense when I show you. It's too big. Okay, so I can't show you. But the reason that I've heard is because Inter Miami currently, right now, does not have any available international roster spots. So they could trade for them, but then they're going to lose allocation money. I don't know how much allocation money they have left because they've already traded. They have 5 extra international slots, right? You start the year with 8. They have 13 as of today. So they would need 2 more for those players, Alan Abondo and Baltasar Rodriguez. They don't have those, so they're not in. They haven't been formally announced. Until they get those, now one solution is that Inter Miami is looking to get green cards for players. They've been working on this for weeks now. If you go back to the reporting from recent pods, from Twitter, from Jose, Andrea, and myself, Federico Redondo was working on getting a green card. Apparently, he got it because he's not listed on the players who are occupying an international roster slot. And I've heard Thomas Aviles is still one of those players that is working on getting it. And Oscar Ustari is another player who's working on getting his green card. So if those guys get their green cards, that opens up 2 slots. And then those 2 players can sign on as international players.
What about if they bring Bando for the U22 as a U22?
But either way, he need. Look, here it is. Either way, you need an international slot.
Okay.
Inter Miami has 13. They don't have any free ones. They don't have any available ones. So until they are able to free up one of these 13 international slots that they have filled currently, then they can't officially add the players because they won't be roster compliant. The other solution is trade for another international roster slot, which you can do, but you're going to have to give up more allocation money. So there you go. That's the information I have. That's the information that I can give.
13 players, salam, man. I'm watching the roster profile today. Like, wow.
Let's look at it again, because this was news that came out this week. So this is Inter Miami's roster designation. You see the 13 international slots on the right. Currently, your 13 international players are Jordi Alba, Tadeo Allende, Thomas Aviles, Yannick Bright, Sergio Busquets, Maximiliano Falcón, Gonzalo Luján, David Martínez, Lionel Messi, Velasco Segovia, Luis Suarez, Oscar Ustari, and Marcelo Chelo Weekend. Inter Miami went with the designated player roster model as opposed to the under 22 initiative roster model. So effectively, that means they opted to sign 3 DPs and 3 under 22 initiative players as opposed to 2 DPs and 4 under 22 initiative players. Inter Miami's 3 DPs are Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, and Lionel Messi. Now, Jordi Alba obviously got an upgrade in terms of his contract because of his roster designation here. Now, that does not mean that he can't be bought down or that a star player can't be brought in the summer. It's just a matter of what the numbers are. Can you buy his cap hit down? And it's getting really technical for MLS, and I try not to do that because only the biggest football nerds, and I say that in the best way possible because I'm a football nerd, only the biggest football nerds, MLS nerds, will pay attention to this. Other people might be like, their eyes might glaze over and be like, oh, qué aburrido. But long story short, if they can buy Jordi Alba's cap hit down, then that frees up a DP spot in the summer to sign somebody else. Or if somebody comes at a low enough figure, then they can prorate essentially the cap hit, since it's only for half a season, and make that player a TAM player or whatever the case is, as opposed to a DP. Whereas if that player was there for a full season, he'd be a DP, but because it's coming for half a season, he'd be an allocation player.
Sorry, I read the comments and they're like, they're a funny fans, and like they're very.
Oh, the comment section here at Miami Total Football Radio, the show is even on Friday night. Even on Friday night.
Thomas. They should buy the 5 million gold card from Trump.
I guess. I don't know. The point is, they have flexibility. For the longer term. Short term, they're a little bit hamstrung until either green cards come in or until they trade for more international spots. So that's where Inter Miami stands in that regard. There you go. Javier Mascherano. Okay, moving on. So we can start rounding out the pod. Inter Miami visits the Houston Dynamo on Sunday in Houston, Texas. It's another team that, on paper, Inter Miami should be head and shoulders better than. Thomas Aviles is suspended for this game because of the red card picked up in the season opener against New York City FC. So there will be at least one change there from the season opener, although I imagine there will be several. So let's start with goal. Oscar Ustari, we expect to get the nod. Now, he did pick up some molestias. He did have some type of little niggling injury or issue in the second leg against Sporting Kansas City on Tuesday night. But he finished the game. Mascherano was asked about Ustari today and said, no big deal. That, yeah, he did suffer a little something, but he's fine.
Even that he has something, a knot or anything, it's not going to be calendar.
So we think that they start Oscar Ustari. The back line, Chelo Weigand, still injured, wasn't in training today. So Ian Frey should get the start there again. Now it comes to the center back.
Who starts it?
At right back, Ian Frey.
Oh, yeah.
The center back tandem, this is where it's interesting. I think we're going to see Peluca Falcon on the right and Noah Allen on the left. I think that's what we'll see, and then Jordi Alba as your left back. Now, the reason why I say that is because in the game against Kansas City, Thomas Aviles, you figured would have gone 90 minutes, right? Because was ineligible to play this weekend because of the red card. So no need to rotate, no need to worry about tired legs. Just play him 90 minutes. Well, he didn't play 90 minutes. He was subbed out midway through the second half. This is what leads to Noah Allen getting the, in part, no, it's not exactly, but this is what leads to Peluca Falco going from left center back to right center back and Noah Allen going to the left center back spot. And I think that switch was made at that point in the game. This is just supposition. This is not information. But I think that it was done at that point in the game to prepare for this weekend. Yeah. For this weekend. To get some repetition, some minutes for this weekend. So I think that's your backline. I don't know if you think differently. David Martinez wasn't training today, so he's an option. Ryan Saylor's there, but being honest, he doesn't have a chance to see the field as a starter. And who am I missing? No, I think that's it. I think that's it for the center back options. So I think that's your center back pairing. I think it's going to be Peluca Falcon and Noah Allen. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
No, I completely agree. I think when they made a switch in the second half was clearly like, hey, we practice, but now let's get like a 90 minutes rhythm, like a real game, intensity rhythm, how you guys can communicate details and everything for a 90 minutes game against Houston.
All right. So then the midfield four. Who plays in the midfield? And one of the questions we got here, comment section, Justin says, do you think they rotate against Houston? So I don't know. I don't think so. So the midfield four, what do we say? Tadeo Allende on the right.
Yeah. Redondo,
Busquets and Redondo in the middle.
And Segovia.
Segovia again on the left. And then up top, you have
Messi Suarez.
Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi. I think it's pretty straightforward. You could make the case that they could rotate, but they don't play until next Thursday, which, by the way, tickets are as cheap as $15 right now for that game. So if you haven't seen Messi yet, or you've only seen him once or twice or a handful of times, and you want to see him again, this is probably going to be as cheap as you'll get a chance to see him. I'm expecting he'll play on Thursday. I don't know that for a fact, but I expect he'll play. And either way, $15 plus toll taxes and everything, $20. It's not a bad figure to potentially see Messi play at home. So it's a steal. It's a bargain. It's worth the gamble. It's worth the risk. So they all have 3 days to recover and prepare for that game. I think that they go pretty strong lineup on Sunday. Alonso, what do you think? Does Inter Miami take care of business? I don't think this Houston Dynamo team is very, very good.
No. I don't think so. I mean, Nicolas Rodeiro is in Houston, and I follow him since he was in Seattle, then in Orlando. So I wish him the best.
What are you? Are you his puppy? You just follow him?
No. I mean, but I cover him.
I cover him. Come on, my friend.
Sorry. My English is not very good looking, but I'm trying. But I know. I mean, this is a not easy game, but something that Miami needs to bring the 3 points from Houston to Miami and regardless and keep getting better and better. I mean, they lost against FC Dallas last game, Houston, and we'll see. I mean, Ben Olsen, he knows how to play these type of games. He probably confident because he beat Miami at home once. So we'll see. We'll see.
Open Cup final in 2023.
2023. Yeah, I was there.
Beat Inter Miami.
Yeah, Coco Carrasquilla. But Messi was injured, remember? Like, right?
Yeah, he wasn't there.
He wasn't 100%.
Still,
Either he was injured.
Miami had no business losing that game.
Yeah,
that's one of Tata Martino's biggest shortcomings during his time here. They should have won that game at home. They should have won that game. But anyway, it's a different team. There's no Carrasquilla. There's no Hector Herrera. You do have Nicolas Lodeiro, but this Dynamo team's just still not very.
No. Especially with a performance against FC Dallas, a team that just probably finished getting built in the preseason. At the end of the preseason.
Very quickly, because I think you predict Inter Miami will win.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
You gotta say. There's some people that don't watch the pod. They listen to it.
Merci. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, Inter Miami wins according to you, and I think they win. I don't know if I want to. I could do a prediction. 3-0. 3-0. Inter Miami wins 3-0, and I don't think that they're going to play a good enough team to really get tested just yet. That will come later in the season. And
for me, 3-1.
Otro 3-1. Another 3-1.
3 goals. I mean, come on. You got Messi, Suarez, Alba. You need to. And Allende shows good also. 2-1 Miami.
Okay. All right. So one last thing I want to touch on here, and just very quickly. Alonso, what do you think of Ian Frey at right back over Chelo Wigan? Because that's a big talking point so far for Inter Miami fans. It's also been a big talking point between Jose, Andrea, and myself behind the scenes. Look, I think Ian Frey is very talented. He's not a natural right back.
No, but he reads the game. He knows when to go up.
He reads the game very well.
He knows when to go open to the line so he can make that extra run and cross the ball.
Absolutely.
He's very technical. He's not afraid to slide. The only problem that you and I will talk in the press box is that the type of injury that he faced before is something that I mean, knock on wood, it can bring weakness through the years, so have to be careful on that. I mean, even that he's fully recovered, he needs to be careful because the injury can happen again. So hopefully not, but he's a very talented player.
He's a very talented player.
Amazing. And I like him how he plays, how he reads. He has goal. Yeah.
I don't know if I would say, and I know this is not a popular decision, but I don't know if I would say that right now he is ahead of Chelo Wigan for right back. Like, he's played well in his appearances. Look, Ian Frey he was a big part of the build up to the equalizing goal against New York City FC because he dribbles the ball forward before he passes to Messi, who then finds Carlos Segovia for the equalizer. So I think he's a very talented player, super talented. I think he's more of a center back than a right back, but he can hold his own at right back. He has shown that. But I don't know if he's ahead of Chelo Wigan just yet.
No, he's not.
I don't think he's ahead of Chelo Wigan in Mascherano's eyes because Ian Frey, defensively, maybe he's an upgrade in one-on-ones. But in the attack, well, I don't think Chelo Wigan is an incredible attacker. Se proyecta mejor.
Yeah.
Whereas Ian Frey does not necessarily project himself as much going forward. Not saying he's incapable of doing it, but he's not as often, as
I think what Chelo has is, like, you can tell he has more experience, more minutes in the pitch. So you can tell, he's not afraid to make mistakes. He does it a lot when I see him play. But he's not afraid. He goes recover. You can tell more Ian Frey that he reads the game, even that he goes well up top. He more like he thinks too much,
He's feeling it out. He's feeling it out. Where Chelo, it's just
you can tell already he looks too much, But Chelo is like that. But with experience, with minutes, the most Inter Miami advance on the Concacaf Champions, the most minutes he's gonna have probably in the league, and that's gonna help him. And who knows, maybe at the end of the season, maybe after League Cups, he takes the position.
We'll see. This is Ian Frey's opportunity to make a real strong case. I asked him about that after the win over Kansas City. This is what he had to say.
I'm just going to show who I am. I know I'm a confident player. I know I can do a lot more than I've done in these past 2 games. I've had some sloppy mistakes that are not usual to me. I'm going to get rid of those. Just the first 2 games. I'm excited to show a lot more. I have a lot more to show.
I have a lot more to show. So, and he also recognized he's made some mistakes because, there's been some untidy things on the ball with his passing that you normally don't see from Ian Frey. So, of course, we'll see. This is his opportunity to really make a case for himself, to really, really give Javier Mascherano something to think about. Although, of course, as some people might point out, he's not Argentine, doesn't have that passport, so that does go against him. That's some people's perception. Not saying that's mine. I'm just speaking as to some perception that does exist out there. And Thomas says Frey just needs to stay healthy. Yeah, absolutely. Justin says Frey made plenty of mistakes last game. Also true. He wasn't perfect, but he has shown good things. All right. We will leave it there. Before we wrap up, we want to thank Alonso Contreras for joining us here on Miami Total Football Radio, the show. Alonso, tell everybody where they can find your work and your Orlando City coverage.
Well, they can find me in at Alonso_Inca or at Area Sports Network, and same for X, former Twitter. But I want you to follow Franco also in Miami Total Football, because actually, like I said in the beginning, they actually go to trainings, press conference, post-game conferences, the games. So what they said about Inter Miami, you either like it or not, they're telling from their actually perspective being there. One thing is watching the game on TV, and another thing watching from the press box. Where
we show our faces, man. We show our faces.
That's good. That's good.
We say what we think. We put ourselves out there, and we still show faces.
That's what I like. It's
easier to say an opinion and then never have to face the people who you're opining about. Whereas we do the whole thing. So if someone has an issue with us, they can. I mean, it hasn't happened really with. Well, I mean, with Phil Neville, I had my run-ins with Phil Neville. But I've had other run-ins during my MLS career.
But I want your audience to make sure, they from me that I go, let's say, I don't know, once a month or who knows, or two. I'm gonna go more often now. But you actually are there. A lot of people want to just jump on the wagon and be like, oh yeah, Messi say this and that, but you weren't there. You couldn't read the expressions. You weren't in the game. So those type of things. People need to understand that the people that journalists are there daily with Inter Miami, and they're bringing the truth.
If this is your way of trying to get invited back on the show, it's doing a fantastic job. Thank you. Alonso, the people approve. Thomas says, thank you, Alonso_purple. And with the salute, this is the new thing now. Whenever we see you, we're just going to go like this. We're going to do the military salute. And Justin says, Alonso with a thumbs up, a lot of O's. Jay says, good show. The people like Alonso. People like Alonso. Maybe we'll bring you back. Who knows? What do you mean, who knows? You need to, man. Who knows? You live in Orlando. I need to pay rent, bro. Come on, you need to bring me back. You're not gonna get paid highly here, bro. You'd be on a Generation Adidas contract here. Try list. Exactly. Yeah, you're on trial right now. This is what you're doing. You're on trial. Alonso, before we let you go, it's your first appearance, so you have to give us un Miami Total Football Radio en Español. The floor is yours. I have no doubts that you are going to crush this. Gracias a todos en Miami Total Football Radio. Lo pueden encontrar por Spotify también, all right, guys. We will leave it there. I will be back next week with probably Jose and Andrea. And if not, maybe we'll have Alonso back here to continue to provide his Peruvian pre-game Cavalier and post-game Houston. Hey, maybe that's not a bad idea actually. Maybe Sunday night we'll come back. Maybe we'll see you guys again later this weekend. So for Alonso Contreras, I am Franco Panizo. You have been listening to Miami Football Radio, the show. We will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.